The child expressed their interest in horses, and Miller said they would acquire several horses so the child could help them care for the herd on their Vermont farm. So he's trying to get 12-year-old kids to move to the farm to be with What's up, buddy? I'm laughing already. I shouldn't laugh, but there's just something about this Ezra Miller situation, which is like the perfect blend of legitimately scary, and we are worried for the victims in these cases, but just pure insanity. Literally, a DC comic book hero is on the run from the law. I found this on Twitter. Flash missing, vanishes in crisis. It's like a bad superhero movie that we're going through right now. The Flash has taken an 18-year-old girl from her parents, is running around the country, and hopefully Batman stops him because nobody else is doing anything. The cops can't find him. Warner Brothers is silent. The mainstream media doesn't even want to talk about this story, though it seems like we're finally pressuring them into it. We're like, guys, when a Hollywood actor or actress or whatever them is kidnaps a girl, a young girl, technically a teenager. I mean, she's 18. You could say she's an adult, but under the law, the tribal law we've established, she's actually considered a minor. Shouldn't that be like big time headline news? Shouldn't people be looking for this individual? And I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. But there have been some Ezra Miller updates, and we need to talk about them because there is now more than one victim. I mean, well, there's already more than one. There's so many victims because he goes around punching people, shooting people, but now there's another underage victim. And we hate to hear that, but let's talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that button down there. And let's start with the less scary part of the story, which is that Ezra Miller's Instagram is now gone. Now, for those of you who don't use Instagram, I want you to know that's a pretty big deal in the entertainment industry. A big part of your brand as an entertainer is to be able to reach out and connect with fans on these social media platforms. I don't know exactly how many followers Ezra Miller had, but I'm sure it was at least 100,000. And that's an avenue that this person, this they, them, non-binary individual can use to communicate information about their new movies, keep people interested in their lives. It's a major marketing outlet. Well, Ezra Miller first posted a bunch of crazy stuff and then deleted the whole Instagram. So, what's going on? Again, we've discussed this idea that if there are horrific allegations against you, you've been accused of grooming young women, you should make a statement. You know, you should put out a press release that says, no, this story, it sounds terrible, but there's a perfect explanation for everything. Instead, Ezra Miller is essentially taunting the authorities on Instagram. What a sane and balanced individual. The more I learn about Ezra, the more I would not trust this person within the 50 feet of me, 20 feet of me. I don't want Ezra Miller anywhere near me or anyone I know. So Ezra Miller, who, again, they detail all the different stuff, says he's going to kill people, he's fighting with cops, he takes an 18-year-old basically hostage at this point. Ezra Miller has decided the best way to communicate to us is to post, "You cannot touch me, I am in another universe" on Instagram. Okay. This is creepy stuff. Ezra Miller is legitimately sociopathic or something. At least schizophrenic. Is having delusions, is seeing things from other dimensions, believes that they are the Christ child come to save us all. And if anyone else had posted this, I'd be like, okay, they don't really mean that. I think Ezra legitimately believes that they exist in a different parallel universe. It's funny, that's what their movie's about. The Flash is all about traveling through different comic book universes. Well, now, Ezra Miller apparently went through that movie experience and has convinced themselves that they are a magical creature who travels between universes. Again, message from another dimension. Again, it's comical how deluded and insane this person is. The only problem is that he's dragging a young girl along with him for the ride. And I'm worried for her safety. If she wasn't with him, I might be laughing a little more. But I don't know if he's going to... I don't know. Sometimes these cult leaders do crazy things and they hurt the people around them. Me remembering how I was nice, he said, when I should have said, "Who do you think you're talking to with an expletive there. Well, that's not the kind of thing a comic book hero should be posting, Ezra. Why are you posting these awful F slurs or F words or whatever else? They are saying, why was I nice? Well, I don't think you have been nice. I've seen the footage. You're running around, you're screaming at everybody, you're fighting with everybody, you're telling the cops that they're racists and bigots. I don't think you are being a nice guy, Ezra. Nice. Well, not guy, not gal. What do you call? What's the non-binary equivalent for guy? I guess just individual. Not a nice individual. And then this is maybe the only thing that Ezra has posted on Instagram that oh no, I actually read this backwards. Me, meaning him, wants to just be left alone, but people are always delivering Ezra a headache. I thought it was the reverse, where people just want to be left alone, and Ezra is constantly delivering them a headache. Them being the Warner Brothers Corporation, which is like, my God, Ezra, stop running from the cops. We just want to put out the Flash movie. It's not going to make any money. We can't sell a movie starring a kidnapper. It's not good. Now this, I don't know. Did Ezra scrawl this with their own poo-poo and their pee-pee? I assume this is something that they stole from somewhere that says, I'm shielded from negative people and their ill intent. My spirit, mind, body, soul, and success are not altered by anyone's envy. I am protected from all negative energy people, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is just more schizo posting. This person is out of control. This transgender, non-binary individual. And, I mean, again, I keep bringing up this idea that I want to laugh. I want to laugh it off. Oh, it's just another crazy Hollywood actor, and it's funny to watch the movie studio lose money on their over-bloated budget of a film for some stupid DC Comics thing. But I can't laugh because, like, there's genuine victims, and some of them are children. As we've seen, or heard, I believe, today, that a 12-year-old girl, I believe it's a girl, a 12-year-old non-binary child, we'll talk about that in a second, a 12-year-old has been granted an order of protection against Ezra Miller. Now, that means a 12-year-old and her family was so worried that Ezra Miller could cause harm to this child that they went to the cops and got a protective order, which was granted. And what's interesting, and why I have a little bit of a relationship to this story, is on Wednesday, a mother and her 12-year-old child traveled to their local courthouse in Greenfield, Massachusetts. That's where I went to college. Good old Greenfield Community College. That's right. I'm a community college boy. I ain't got no real learning in my head. Just a bunch of community college nonsense. But I'll tell you this about Greenfield. It is the kind of place that I can imagine Ezra Miller hanging out. Western Massachusetts, for those of you who don't know, is a villainous hive of hippies and losers. And everyone in Greenfield is probably vegan, organic, whatever the hell. It is a very crunchy hippie town. So when I hear that the victim was a non-binary child, I go, well, it's Western Massachusetts. I'm sure half the kids are non-binary by now, which is why I don't go back. I'm originally from Western Massachusetts. All the wokeness and the hippies and I moved to California to escape from that. And I know you're laughing right now. And they went, you moved to California to escape the woke people. It's still better than Massachusetts, I'm going to argue. Anyway, this mother and child, and we do not know the child's, original gender. We're not supposed to know. I don't know if it's a girl or a guy, or was a girl or a guy. You know what I mean, whatever. Went to the courthouse and got a temporary harassment prevention order against Ezra Miller, alleging that the actor menaced their family one evening in the downstairs neighbor's home. Now, again, as someone who hung out and smoked weed in Greenfield, such a hippie town. This story, I'm like, man, I feel like I've been in this house before. Let me see if I can find, here we go. On the evening of February 2nd, the trio, which is the family, the mother, and I'm not sure who else, the neighbor, I guess, who was with them, we're all hanging out in good old crunchy hippie Greenfield, which is about 40 miles from the actor's ranch in Vermont. Very close to the border with Vermont, that is correct. It's a hill town. It's in the middle of the woods, basically. Whatever. Anyway, that neighbor is in a band with Whitney Sutters, a musician who is close friends with Miller. Okay. So Miller was wearing a bulletproof vest. Well, let me make this clear. So there's a mother, a neighbor, and the child. They're hanging out with This guy Whitney, a musician, drummer or something. He looks like he's a what do you call it? Looks like he's in a folk band. He's got like suspenders and a big old beard. Looks like I don't know what you want to call it. Again, they're all dirty hippies. They're horrible people in Greenfield. So that guy was there along with Ezra Miller, who I originally thought was supposedly in this stupid hippie jam band, but maybe is just friends with them. Okay. And again, this is where we would have to drive to get our weed. It's like it was the worst. Back when you couldn't get weed, and you're like, we got to go to Greenfield and buy it from some dude who grew it, on his on his vegan goat farm, which Ezra Miller owns a goat farm. So hell, I was probably buying weed from him and I didn't even know it. Anyway, tensions began brewing when the mother says she mentioned doing some traveling recently with her tribe. Again, you hang out with these Greenfield hippies, and they're all talking about my tribe and Mother Nature and the spirits and the crystals. I know a million of these people, okay? But she didn't mean like, my indigenous tribe, like my tribe, because we're all part of something. We're all part of the woods or whatever the hell. Okay, that's probably what she meant. Miller went nuts and accused her of cultural appropriation. Now, Miller, you need to understand tribe does not necessarily refer to racial tribes, indigenous tribes. It could just be a tribe of people. You can form a tribe with anyone you want. But Miller says that this was cultural appropriation. Then a conversation about board games. I'm laughing because you know what? One of the only things they have in Greenfield is like a board game store because the kids in Greenfield are all dirty hippie kids who aren't allowed to play video games. So they all have to go to Greenfield Games and buy copies of like Settlers of Catan because their parents are like, technology is bad. We don't want our kids on those screens. So of course they're talking about board games. Miller claimed the board game Parcheesi had Rastafarian roots. The fuck? Who cares? Okay, fine. The visiting neighbor, again, one of the guys who made the complaint, who is half black, questioned Miller as to which sect of the Rastafari movement it originated from. That seems reasonable. Did you know Parcheesi is Rastafarian? Which I don't know anything about the Rastafarians. I go, really? Well, could you explain to me how that came to be? What member of the... Is that true, by the way? I feel like I have to look that up later. Regardless, Ezra exploded and started screaming directly into my face. Again, we're screaming at a half-black man for not, I guess, believing him that Parcheesi is invented by a black set. The Rastafarians are, mostly black, not always, but okay. Well, you can't lecture a black guy about Rastafarians is what I'm trying to say. He says, Miller told me you don't even know what the F you're talking about. What did you say to me? What did you just say to me? The neighbor says I was caught off guard. Then Ezra Miller opened up their jacket, this big old Sherpa jacket, and on one side of the jacket, you could see a gun. Yikes. Remember, this is Ezra Miller, who owns a goat farm in the woods of Vermont because he's a dirty, filthy hippie like the rest of these people. Visits a house, accuses the people of cultural appropriation, and then gets an argument over whether or not Parcheesi was invented by black people. That's good. Good. Safe. Miller then proceeded... Okay, wait. This is where it gets just creepy, and this is how we know Ezra Miller is absolutely insane. Miller then focused their attention on the 11-year-old, currently 11 in this scenario, saying, I've talked extensively with your child, and they have a lot of power to them. At one point, you're going to realize you don't have any control over them anymore. They're an elevated being, and they would be lucky to have someone like me guide them. Okay. Again, I've been to Greenfield, and I've also met the hippies who forgot how to, work or, interact with society, and they just sit on the sidewalk and smoke weed and, braid stuff out of hemp and scream about how the government doesn't understand their spiritual inner being. Ezra Miller is like the schizophrenics I would meet on the streets of Greenfield in Northampton, Massachusetts. Who is lucky enough to have a bunch of Hollywood money, because otherwise, again, he would just be sitting on the sidewalk, picking at the scabs on his head, and screaming about how Mother Gaia is going to come and destroy the planet. This is literally schizophrenic wood people talk. This is the talk of the children of the woods in Massachusetts. I've met them. They're crazy, And Ezra is one of them. Even if he's in Vermont, he's get out of my state. Massachusetts is my state, Ezra. Leave my people alone. Those are my hippies. They say Miller then proceeded to turn to the mother, who dresses as a goth, again, because it's Greenfield and everyone's insane, and accused her of being a witch and a vampire, repeatedly yelling at her, "Do you want to drink my blood? Do you?" So I guess Ezra Miller saw that the mother is a little bit, I don't know, Wiccan, goth, whatever it is, and assumed she was a vampire and accused her of wanting to suck his blood, their blood. Miller came back to the child and began pestering them with compliments, at one point moving their chair closer to them, requesting that they add the actor on Instagram and telling the child to pursue fashion. And hear from the child themselves. This is horrifying. What is wrong with Ezra Miller? They were just weirdly drawn to me, kept telling me how much they love my outfit and style, which I'm sure their mom bought for them. The kid probably doesn't have their own built-in sense of fashion. It kept going on and on about how it was great. It was really uncomfortable. I was really nervous. I was scared to be around them. This kid's good at the pronouns. After he'd yelled at my mother, "Oh, you screwed it up, kid." You're supposed to say, "I was scared to be around them," after they yelled at my mother. You almost got there. And my mother was crying. The mother and visiting neighbor both believe Miller may have been under the influence due to their dilated pupils and erratic behavior. I guarantee you, Ezra Miller is growing something on that goat farm, and it ain't goats. All right? And I don't even think it's weed. I think he's growing some mushrooms. I think he's got a little, meth acid production going. Clearly, Ezra Miller has fried their brain on drugs. Miller apologized for the outbursts, only to return to pester the family on a number of other occasions, including June, where they were dressed as a cowboy. In April, and this is not funny, both the mother and child maintained Miller made the child uncomfortable by hugging them and pressing their body closely against them. In June, thank God you finally got a restraining order against this individual. In June, the child expressed their interest in horses. Wait, this is June. When did Ezra Miller come back? Was this last June? I'm confused. The child expressed their interest in horses, and Miller said they would acquire several horses so the child could help them care for the herd on their Vermont farm. So he's trying to get 12-year-old kids to move to the farm to be with Look, this is what happens. I have people in this community. Again, I knew these dirty Western Massachusetts hippies. Vermont, New Hampshire, whatever, okay? They live in the woods. They're completely out of touch with reality, and they start thinking. They have these delusions of grandeur, okay? And Ezra Miller's delusions of grandeur have been exacerbated by the fact that this person is in major Hollywood productions. And they think, well, I must be magical. GQ's taking pictures of me and how wonderful I am. I'm going to take all the children of the world and turn them into my followers. And Ezra, you are schizophrenic. You need to be medicated. You need to be locked up. This is the second time you have approached a 12-year-old child and told them they're magical and special and you want them to move with you to your farm and raise horses and whatever. This is inappropriate. Leave people's kids alone. If you want to start your magic hippy-dippy revolution, start it with a bunch of adults. If you can't convince adults to follow you, then you probably ain't got a good cult mentality. You gotta, it's very easy to trick children. Let's put it that way. The mark of a real cult leader, if that's what you want, you gotta trick adults. So stick to that. Leave the kids alone. You nut job. And stop yelling at their mom and saying she's gonna drink your blood. Stop promising them horses. Stop promising them magic. Stop telling them to be your Instagram friend. You're a 29-year-old non-binary transgender individual. Why do you need to be Instagram friends with a 12-year-old? You don't. It's creepy and it's weird. Again, I have no proof that anything sexual is happening, but regardless of whether this is a sexual thing, I mean, they say they're uncomfortable with the hugs you're giving them. You're getting way too intimate with them just in various ways, the way you're talking to them, the way you're interacting with them. This is inappropriate behavior. And once again, there's two things I want in this situation. Until they happen, I'm going to be mad. One, Ezra Miller, I don't care what magic gender identity you assume. You are still an adult human being. You have the ability to explain your actions. I want you to stop running away and leaving little Instagram notes. I'm so funny and weird. Shut up. You've been accused of grooming minor children. This is a serious allegation. Go online, go find a press agent, find a lawyer, whatever you need to find, and you tell us what happened, what really happened. I want to hear it from you. If you have a great explanation for this and it's a complete misunderstanding, fine, tell us, okay? I don't think anything you say is going to make up for the fact that this is very inappropriate, that you're on a drunken bender fighting with cops and you're dragging an 18-year-old girl along with you, but you should at least have the balls to issue some sort of statement and let us know your side of the story. And I'm willing to listen. I know you're nuts. I know you're crazy, but it's possible that this is just kind of bad and not as insanely bad as I'm imagining in my head. Because in my head, I'm now imagining that you're hurting these people that are with you, that you are a threat to them, a danger to them. Why don't you at least let me know that's not true? Number 2, Warner Brothers. You have a major motion picture starring this psychopath. You have remained entirely silent throughout this entire thing. This has been going on for months, that Ezra Miller has been terrorizing people. It's time for you to be a responsible corporate entity and at the very least say, we are aware of the allegations against Ezra Miller and here are the steps we are taking, whether you are looking for them, whether you are reaching out to the victims to collect their stories, whether you are conducting an independent investigation. There are ways for you to handle this responsibly and professionally, and it's not to just plug up your ears and go, nothing's wrong, the Flash is fine, don't worry. Even that, you haven't said anything. Just complete silence. Incredible lack of professionalism and responsibility from both Ezra Miller and the Warner Brothers Corporation, and frankly, I find it despicable. And until we get those statements, I don't know. We the consumer of the power. Is it time to start organizing a boycott of the Flash? Is that what it's going to take to get them to answer up? It might be. That might be the way we have to go, because they keep getting away with this because we're not raising enough of a fuss, and I hope you out there will help raise that fuss. Please share this video, share these stories, let everyone know, because that's what's happened, is that people are not hearing about this. People don't know who Ezra Miller is. They don't know what's going on, and that's why they keep getting away with it. But the more of us who tell the story and tell people what's going on, eventually they got to say something, okay? And that's what we want. We're tired of the silence. This is not reasonable. You don't get to torment young people, potentially groom young people, and then just run around and do whatever you want and have your big movie come out and no repercussions. This is unreasonable. We need to talk about it. So I hope you're talking about it. Please share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Veto Nation. Quick plug for myself. Check out my comic book. Trying to get to 500 names on the mailing list. I'm just 10 names away. So please sign up for the mailing list. And Ezra Miller, come on. I know being a dirty hippie in Western Massachusetts is fun. Okay, but at a certain point, the weed runs out and you got to come back to reality. Come on, buddy. Let's issue a statement.